Catflap Chats, episode 77 we are now, fucking approaching this 100 one. Just quickly before we start, check out catflapchats.com. It's where you'll find our back catalogue of guests, our amazing sponsors, and you'll find some merch, the hats and stuff like that. Big thanks to Tiny Rebel Brewery. Have you got a drink there, pal?
I've got soda water and blackcurrant, mate. Unfortunately, all at the moment.
I've got a nice little, well, I've got a Tiny Rebel here, but the problem, I don't know if you've seen like me and Stods and people are doing this 1,000 miles in May.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, brutal. So I did 25k earlier. I've got another 56 to do tonight to try and catch up. So I don't know how this fucking beer is going to go down, but when in Rome, pal.
Mate, I can't understand how you can do that much on a walk bike. Like I go on there for 5 minutes. I'm like, I have to get off this thing.
Mate, I don't know what the bone is, not your coccyx, but the bit your gooch, like, fuck me. It's just because I'm a heavy bloke, there's a lot of weight just going through that one fucking bit. Yeah. Brutal, mate. But enough about... What's that?
You got a comfy seat on there?
I got a gel seat, I've got proper, like, Rafa bib shorts. But, mate, I'm 120 kegs, like, do you know what I mean? It's a fair old bit of weight going through it.
Yeah, it's not. It's probably not our best friends. If it's better than running.
Oh, exactly. My knees thank me. My ankles thank me. So, last year I don't know if you saw. I did the stairs, 1,000 flights of stairs in one day.
Yeah, seen that.
That fucked me for months, mate. After
the hinge.
I was like, I was like a cow after I couldn't walk back downstairs. I was absolutely fucking gone. So, for people less fortunate than us, boy. So.
Exactly, mate.
Hey, look, I suppose people are wondering who the fuck I'm talking to here. Mr. Scott Baldwin, thanks for coming on. Wales, Harlequins, Ospreys, soon to be Worcester Warriors.
Yeah.
What's the news, pal? What's going on?
Not much, mate. Just got my breath back from the weekend, really. It's been a bit manic the last few weeks, really. Like it's not what I was expecting when I joined the Premiership, I'll be honest, from what I experienced. It was scrum, line out, penalty, kick to the corner. It's far from what we're about with a minute of Harlequins, I'll tell you that.
Enjoyed it though?
Yeah, it's class, mate. Like there's some great boys here, some different characters, which is really nice, and it's revitalising as a player. Like I'm not the youngster anymore, and that seems to have flown by. But yeah, it's a great group of boys here, and I think you can see from the results we've had recently how tight we are as a group, just fighting for each other.
Yeah, you got some Mavericks down there. You got a couple of old heads as well. Like it seems a good club. Like I remember when Jamie went there, he loved it, and it seems like a class environment. I don't know, much about Harlequins internally, but it does seem like a class environment to go and play rugby and learn your craft.
Yeah, and it's like when we had fans, it was between 12 and 15,000 at every game, and
yeah.
What was refreshing for me is how much they just love to see a type of game like the weekend where it's just ball in play. We probably could have lost that game and the fans would have been going on and talking about how good it was. And it's almost like when you're playing school and youth rugby again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The professional side to it, like and some of the players in the team like we've got at the moment are just unbelievable.
Yeah, class. I mean, I had Don Brandt down as a bit of an outsider for the Lions, and Marcus Smith, obviously. But I mean, people were talking about him. But Don Brandt, like he's carving up, mate. He's so good.
Man, there's so much more to come from him as well. Like people, I think one of his work-ons people perceive as his weakness is his line-out jumping.
I
think he's one of our main line-out jumpers now within the space of 6 to 8 months. I'm actually giving him confidence to get up and get a ball to him. And then, as I say, around the field, that some of those lines he hits, the closest player, or the only player probably I've played with in the forwards has been like is Tips and Toby.
Yeah, of course.
Probably a bit of amalgamation of both of them. Like I'm not saying he's better than them. Like they're some of the best players in the world, but he has.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He has those tendencies in him, and he has the ability to break game line and bust tackles and so on. So yeah, I think he's got a big future.
Does it help when you're, you 30, are you 32 now?
We're we'll say 30, should we? Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So does it help like having youngsters like that coming through? Because you've got to not up your game maybe, but you've got to, I don't know, you've got to prove you've still got it, and you've got to show these youngsters who's boss, and you've got to almost try and bring something new to the table as well.
Yeah, it's very refreshing. Like I get on really well with a lot of the boys. Marcus Smith and me are really close.
Yeah.
He some of his ideas he says to me are really refreshing, and something I never thought about doing or never would have envisaged a style of play. And it's something I really struggled with when I first come to Quins. I'd come from very structured, set piece, get gain line, everything's very structured, to all of a sudden I was coming here and we literally, it was like playing touch rugby and offloading, unstructured in training, in game.
Yeah.
I was really getting frustrated because I was like, "This, you're not going to win anything like this." But I was very narrow-minded because that is all I'd ever known. And then I just had a moment with, "Oh fuck it, I'm just going to do it, son. Let's just have a crack. Let's go have a laugh on the pitch." I probably think it's lucky there's no fans in the minute at the moment. So I'm on the pitch, especially off myself. Marla telling me, "Mate, that was horrendous chat." Going into a scrum and stuff. But look, I really enjoy my rugby, and I think that is because I'm enjoying having people around me who are having a laugh. Look, it's a serious business. We all get that. We're all giving our all. But like, especially in the world we live in at the moment, if you can't have a laugh doing your job, what's the point?
Mate, I completely agree. And at the end of the day, it is a job. It's not life and death. It's not the be all and end all. So like when you see these people on Twitter or whatever abusing people and stuff, like, just fucking grow up a bit.
Yeah, it breaks me. Absolutely breaks me.
Oh, it kills me, mate. I love having a fucking Twitter spat with someone. Just shut up, your ball bag. Get off your sofa and fucking go training with them for a week and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's what I like you. Like, it's probably something I picked up off Joe, is that fuck it mentality. Like, the people who you care about and care about you, as long as they know what you're about, that's all that matters. Not these faceless people who are abusing people online and so on. It's a joke. Like,
he seems like a good bloke. I mean, I've heard him on a couple of podcasts with Haskell, and he's got that documentary coming out, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Was it last night? Was it?
Yeah, it's on Sky Sports.
Yeah, I've seen that's coming. A good bloke.
Yeah, mate, class bloke. Like, really different, very different bloke, but very thoughtful, which you wouldn't think. Well, not that you wouldn't think, but caring, very caring. He'll tell you how it is, and he's very frank. The one thing I love with him is he will treat the CEO the same as he'll treat an academy player speaking to him. Person, which is good. But that's probably been the biggest shock to me. There was a few characters when I signed you, I was thinking, oh, how difficult are these people going to be? And couldn't have been more wrong. I was probably back then the pigeonhole of the person on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram saying, "Oh, what a dick he is." Be further than the truth. Like, one of my good friends here is Mike Brown. Like, I never in a million years would have thought when I signed you how different he is off the pitch to how he is on the pitch. Yeah, he's a bit like that. It's a bit like Sanjay. Like, you love playing with Sanjay. You absolutely hate playing against it. It's the same with Brownie, mate. I remember my first game against Gloucester in the Prem Cup. I got into a bit of a scrap with Ackerman, the number 8 from Gloucester. Eyes in, Mike Brown. Grips a guy, has me head block. Class. Me and you were going to be friends, mate.
I love that, though. Like, he's obviously got a bit of a bad rep, especially like a couple of games against Wales, and obviously the Twitterverse fucking jumps on its bandwagon. But a few people have said he's a top bloke. Obviously, unbelievable player, achieved some great things in the game, but top bloke is what a lot of people come out and say.
Well, yeah, I remember back when obviously we knocked England out of the World Cup, but we didn't. Australia did, but we beat them in the World Cup in 2002. Yeah, and everyone's going on about that interview. Yeah, even back then, I was kind of like, how can people get offended by that? He's disappointed. He's lost a World Cup game, which has probably knocked him out of the World Cup. Do you want him to smile and be like, oh yeah, just one of those days we got beat by the better side? Nah, you say you want honesty. You want people to be themselves, as we are on this podcast now. Like it's brilliant. But then offend someone or someone doesn't like it, we shouldn't be saying that. It's not professional. It's a bit of a ball breaker, I'll be honest.
Oh, like everyone expects you to live to their expectations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, their expectations don't pay my fucking bills. They don't pay your bills. Like there are certain people that I will value their opinion.
Yeah.
You know, my missus, family to an extent, but they might not understand the situation because I don't talk to them in depth about the podcast or certain things. My boss, a couple of close mates, and that tends to be it. The rest then is just opinion.
Yeah.
And like, I can't live by their opinion because it doesn't pay my bills.
No.
It's mad. Like,
opinion, it's like anything. It's like, I remember someone said to me about selection before. Selection is just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
That's probably like, it's probably easier if you're below international level because you can move club. But Sam Simmons now, like at England, his opinion is he's not the number 8 he wants. People go mental about that, but that's his opinion. He's England coach.
Yeah.
You want to pick Sam Simmons, do all your coaching badges, go to your local rugby club, work your way up, get a good as a coach, then go and coach an international team. Then you can pick Sam Simmons, or then you can pick whoever it is. Do you know what I mean? But you're entitled to an opinion, but it is your opinion. And that's all it is. Yeah.
Did you get much heat? Like, I know we'll probably come on to it a bit later, you know, like fucking with the lion thing, for example, or even when you come out about, you know, some of your darker days off the field. Like, do you get much heat on social media?
Well, I had something not so long ago, and it doesn't bother me, but I don't know why. For this particular day, this one thing just came up, and I thought, nah, I'm going to you. So I put something like that. I can't remember the tweet. It was Lee Byrne put something up. It was about police not going to Cardiff to interfere when that big event was on, when it shouldn't have been, or whatever. And the police have gone to Cowbridge to a petting farm to say you can't, like, you have to go home to this family. And he focused on doing this. Now I know the in depth about it, but I just liked it or retweeted it or something, or said, yeah, agree. Or you could be stupid and put your hand in a lion's cage. It's like, where did that come from? What relevance does that have to any of this? And he was like, you want to get a real job and do it? I was like, mate, I have a real job. What do you think it is? I put a thing up last night and I was like, everyone says about the real jobs, real life. Unless we live in the Matrix, mate, we live in real life. Everyone lives in the real world.
Yeah.
I worked really hard to get to where I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure everyone who works really hard to get to where they've got to, like. So it's not me against you, or my life's this, your life's that. It's just, this is my life. I'm not going to apologize for the life I live. I'm very
I often find, like, surely these people must be jealous or bitter that they didn't make it. I mean, like, all of these people I was bad for it. You know, when I first come to Wales as an 18-year-old, I had trials I played for Plymouth Albion, I had trials at Bath, thought I was the fucking boy. Come up to Wales and got smashed from Newport to Cardiff every fucking weekend because Valley's boys were harder than me and bigger than me and fucking tough. And then all of a sudden, you know, your ego's gone and you go, actually, I wasn't that fucking good. I was never going to make it. I enjoy a swig too much. Like, but you meet people, and even now they're like, yeah, I'd have made it if it wasn't for my knee or whatever. And then they're the people who are like on social media, on Facebook or whatever, statuses in these groups all the time. Like, I'm in loads of groups because obviously I share like podcasts in different groups depending on teams.
Yeah.
And just the comments, I'm just like, you must be so bitter to write this shit on Facebook and get into debates with people about it. Like, what is wrong?
The thing that really got to me most recently, is a while back now, is when Liam Williams had a lot of dick after.
Yeah.
Again, the same as the coaching thing.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't got, like, firstly, do you think he didn't want to win a Grand Slam? Do you think he didn't want to lose a game? Did you think he'd done that to get the yellow card? No, he did not. And again, if you have that opinion or that perception and you feel you can do a better job, go to your local rugby club who need players. Play for it. Work your way up.
Yeah.
That's what Liam done.
Yeah.
scaffolding when he was 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Do you mean he's worked his absolute guts off to get to where he's got to, and he wants to win. No one wants to win more than the players. No one.
Yeah.
So, as much as when I used to do it. I haven't got a clue about football, but when I used to back in the day on football, I'd be like, oh, he's terrible if he didn't score a goal. Now I'm looking, I'm thinking, I never put anything online, but it's like, I'm the worst footballer in Harlequins by a country mile. I'm dreadful.
Yeah.
So how can I have an opinion on that? Like, why do I feel entitled to have an opinion? Go at someone.
Yeah. The thing that wrecks me with Sanj, for example, is people don't know him because he's quite quiet. He doesn't put himself out there loads, but he's a top fucking bloke. Like I seen him last week or the week before they moved house. He's a fucking superb bloke who is hard as nails. So if anyone ever did say anything to him, he'd probably fucking iron it out there and then.
Yeah.
He's as lovely and thoughtful as they come. But also, people love him when he's smashing someone into touch or fucking winning those high balls and collisions or turning the ball over. And on that particular, there was one. Was it the France game where the ref done him for being off his feet and said, actually, that was a bit fucking contentious. But like, people love him, and then the same people will slate him. I'm like, well, which side of the fence you on? He's either fucking class, and he's either made a mistake or got pinged harshly, or he's not class. Like, which one is he?
Do you know, we had this, so all the Quins boys fancy night out in Cardiff. I'm like, boys, Jim, when lockdown's over,
Yeah.
You play Worcester next year. The fun bus straight to Cardiff.
Yeah.
And I remember speaking to Brownie about it before lockdown. I was like, well, mate, we'll have to come to Cardiff for a night out. He's like, oh, last time I went out in Cardiff, blah, blah. And he's like, mate, the thing is, if I went out in Cardiff, everyone would just abuse me and try and fill me in.
Yeah.
I was like, mate, the people that abuse you online will be the first people on a night out to come up. Hi, Mike, can I have a picture with you, please? Love you as a rugby player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, mate, don't worry about that. I've had people on night out. You're terrible at rugby. I'm like, oh, cheers, mate. Thanks for that. I remember that when I'm playing next week. But
enjoy your fucking whatever job you've got, even if you've got a job or not.
Oh, mate, just
fucking it does do my tits in, but I just laugh at it now. Like, it's just, yeah, it's funny. You know, Dicko had a bit of heat before when he was at the Blues, and I fucking flew into these guys. I was like, fuck you. Who are you to, like, the way I see it is, it's a job. Do I earn my salary 100% of the time? Probably not. Do I have bad days in work? 100% yes, I do. Like, that's life.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just doesn't click on the field. Like, sometimes I lose a pitch or I don't win a client or whatever. Like, it's just the fucking way it is. Like, you just learn from it.
Not through lack of effort.
Exactly, yeah. It's not through lack of effort or passion or not trying hard enough. It's just for whatever variables, it just hasn't quite fucking clicked on that particular day. Like, but I feel like we're giving these people too much airtime. Like, fuck them, innit? Whatever. See you later. Choppers. What's it been like, mate, for the last year or so now with COVID? Obviously, you know, you've moved down from Wales, playing in London, living just outside London. How has it been, one, playing in a new league, but two, like, then the fans have just gone and actually, like, everything you wanted to experience in that league, it hasn't been there for you at times. What's that been like?
It's been tough, but it's something we spoke about as a group. We've been very fortunate. We've socialised pretty much the first few months, probably March to June. I come back to Wales, lived in Wales, trained on my own. But since we've come back in, for us players, it's been like happy days. We've been training together, been able to socially distance, chat and whatever. It's been harder for the partners, I think, especially the boys that have moved to the club. They haven't got that. No one had the network, so it's not really a thing. But Quins, we got a bloke, Andy Sanger, who is like a player liaison officer type guy, and he tried to do anything. Zoom. He used to get Zoom things for the wives, the partners, their group, kids. Like, now, hopefully, we can try and get some more stuff up and running. But prior to lockdown, the biggest change off the field I seen was how much they include your families.
Yeah.
I remember we played, I think it was Exeter, my first Premiership game. And I had the team manager ring me like on the Monday. He was like, "Oh mate, does any of your family want to come to Exeter? Go in the like the sponsors lounge, free food, free piss." Rung my father-in-law. He's like, "Mate, I'm there." Him and his mate went down, mate, sitting next to the owner of Quins, Charlie and Charles, sorry. And just like he was like, "Mate, unbelievable bloke, like just loved the piss, a good crack. You'd never have guessed who he was."
Yeah.
Things like that, the boxes they have for the families, food. We had days at like at the stoop we had where the families were in on the pitch. They put things on, and mate, playing in front of 15,000 at the stoop every week was unbelievable, and I can't wait to have some fans in our next home game against Bath, which is ironically the last time we had fans. We played Bath in that. Remember, there was like a couple of thousand. I think it was.
Yeah.
It was September maybe. So yeah, it's been interesting. I'm gutted I've missed some of the big opportunities. Like we were meant to play Saracens in Tottenham.
Yeah.
Which would have been unreal to play there. And then I missed big games but that was just through an injury. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to come to Quins as well, was to play in front of the big crowds again.
Yeah.
Big game in Twickenham. And to win silverware, which hopefully, touch wood, we can keep going the way we're going and try and get that Premiership title.
Yeah, you're on course, pal. You're on course. I'd love to just, for people who might not be quite as familiar with you sort of growing up and how you sort of came to the Ospreys, like just give us a whistle-stop tour on growing up as a kid and how you got into it and Bridgend and into the Ospreys and so on.
So when I was a kid, to be pretty frank, I was a dick. I used to get into a lot of scraps. Diagnosed with ADHD quite young.
Okay.
I struggled, dyslexic as well. So I struggled with stuff like English. Whenever I was in school doing English, I'd be naughty to get chucked out. I didn't want to read in front of the class.
Yeah.
So even now, I can read, but say for instance now when I put my son to bed, I'll go up 20 minutes early, read the book once, so when it comes to reading it again, I'm not pausing and stuff. But yeah, so I was a dick, and then I remember I was never really good at rugby, mate, if I'm honest. I was went skateboarding for a bit. I was about 15, 16.
Class. And
then the social side of youth rugby and going out on a Saturday night took control, and I was out on Friday and Saturday for the next 3 years, really.
was that with the AF?
Yeah, with the AF. There's some good boys there.
Class. Mate, it's produced some class players.
Mate, we had one night out. We played Baldwin away, and our outside, I remember him saying, "Boys, I just hope I don't lose my teeth today in this game." So anyway, after the game, he was like, "Happy days, I haven't lost anything, boys. We won or whatever." Gone out on the night out, bouncer knocked his front teeth out. I was like, oh. Still the next day he was.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, so then mate, I was working for a company I'm still really good mates with the owners, doing timber frame houses. This was 19. And I always said I'd give myself till 21, 22. And then if I didn't make it, I'd have a crack at a proper job. I remember I was playing for Bridgend, and the coach just said to me, he was like, "Mate," it was Andrew Millwood. He's now CEO.
Yeah.
He was coach of Bridgend at the time. He's like, "Mate, if you can be throwing out, I think you could potentially get in the Ospreys." And I remember we played Neath in the Knoll, and I think we beat him 26-25. It was like the first time in 20 years or something like that. And Tandy was playing.
Yeah.
And he had said to I think it was Shaw Lolly and the other coaches there, like, "Mate, you want to have a look at this guy? He's got a bit about him." I was 136 or 134k at the time. I was a big old
wow, that's a lump, that is.
Yeah, so then I went in with the Ospreys for like a month trial. So went in, and I remember they said, "Oh, look, we're going to offer you a 3-month contract." So I remember I went to meet Mike Cuddy upstairs in his office, and he came in and he was like, "Oh, look, so we're going to give you a 3-year deal." I was like, he's like, "How much do you want?" I was like earning 200 quid a week at the time. I was like, should we say 300? And he's like, "Yeah, happy." I was like, "Oh, why did I say that?" It actually worked out. For the first 2 years of my professional career, I earned less because I hadn't put into consideration I was actually getting paid for Bridgend as well.
Oh no!
I had to become a professional, which
Yeah.
thankfully it paid off now. But yeah, I remember first meeting I had with Andrew Hoare, he was like, "Oh look, mate, we know you've got a bit of a reputation for you've been in trouble with the police and so on. We don't hold that against you, but if you get arrested again, like you'll be done."
Yeah.
Kind of, that was probably the stern words I needed at the time. I remember going to Andrew Millwood though and saying, "Oh mate, can I turn to a tight deck?" I was lazy fucker back then. I was like, "I don't think I can lose this weight."
Yeah.
You'll play hooker. And yeah, then like I didn't really get much of an opportunity under Scott Johnson. He didn't really rate me as a player, and that's fine. That's his opinion, his perspective.
Yeah.
He sent me to Italy for life experience.
Yeah.
I think it was just try and get rid of me. So yeah, I went over there. First day I get there, I was promised a car. Then on the way over, it was a moped. I turned up for an amateur club, and it was a push bike which got stolen the first night outside my apartment. And then we played on the Sunday on a pitch which had zero grass. It was just hard mud in Milan.
Oh, savage.
I remember I was there and I was thinking, what am I doing? I was on peanuts at the time, and then I've gone out on a night out. It was a Sunday night, left my kit bag in one of the players' cars with designated driver. I don't know if he had 5 in drive mine, but come out of the nightclub and car had been robbed, my wallet and my bag had been nicked. I was like, this is the worst possible start.
Fucking hell.
It was good though, to be fair. The club turned up the next day with a wad of cash, and they were like, "Mate, really sorry." They were brilliant, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it was a really good learning curve for me, because before I had gone there, like rugby was my life. If I hadn't made it as a rugby player, I don't know what I would have done. And when I was out there, I kind of realised there's more to life than just rugby.
Yeah.
So then I come back as Scott Johnson, thankfully for me and lucky for him, or unfortunate for him, he got sacked. Tandy took over, and Tandy had obviously had a lot of faith in me, called me into the office and was like, "Mate, you're going to be involved now going forward." Played every game that year then when I come back post-Christmas, and we won the league. Big moment, like getting on in the final, it was quite tight against Leinster.
Yeah, good win that was, right?
It's class, mate. Class night out as well. Remember?
I can imagine. Where'd you go? Did you go Swansea after?
Oh, no, mate, we were out in Dublin, mate.
It was out in, yeah, of course it was out there. What a place.
Style, mate.
Yeah, 100. Oh, mate, I have done a couple of tours to Dublin. Copper Face. Did you go Dicey's in the day at any time?
Nah, mate. To be honest,
it's next door. It's next door to Copper Face Jack's.
Yeah, there's not much memory of it, I'll be honest. All I can remember is one of our players, I won't say who, picked the CEO Andrew Hoare up by his throat and slang him across the dance floor. So yeah, I think that went down too well, but
got spicy then.
Yeah, so yeah, it was class, and then obviously come back, and then look, the rest is history. I've been really fortunate to do what I've done for so many years. I remember I never been happy. I think I set myself a target to play 10 games for the Ospreys.
Yeah.
And then got a bit greedy and wanted to keep playing.
Well, you got 160 odd in the end, was it?
Yeah, it's something I wish I'd got. I'd love to have got to 200.
Yeah.
It was something like when I come to Quins, I remember I set myself a few targets. One of those targets was to play 100 games for the club, which unfortunately I won't be doing now. But just got to try and enjoy it now, as I have done for the last 12, 18 months.
And what's it, the Ospreys, as you're coming through as a kid, they had the Galacticos, and they've obviously had tons of like international players and heritage over the years. Like, what's that environment like for you, where you've got all these, I don't know if there was egos, but you've got all these personalities, shall we say, all this charisma, all this, I don't know, all these established players. Like, how did you find that? And did you find it easy? Was it welcoming? Like, was it a tough learning curve and you had to earn your stripes. So what was that like?
Mate, it was very welcoming, very different to what it is now, though. I think it's a lot more. Not except you're more engrossed in the group straight away now. Like some of the academy boys come out for dinner with us, and we go out and it's good crack. Whereas probably never dreamt it. Just texting one of the younger boys to go out for food, and I was coming through. But yeah, mate, it was good. They were all really welcoming, mate. The biggest one for me when I first come through was Richard Hibbard. Mate, he could not have done more to help me. Anything I wanted to do, anything I asked him, he was always there. Like I was just trying to take stuff off him, which was brilliant. Mate, Jerry Collins, I was really close with.
Unbelievable.
He can drink, my mate. I remember we used to go on a couple of. I was never playing at the time. Thankfully, no one really knew because he could drink. Maybe go out on like a Friday. I think I'd gone out on the Friday. He rang me Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I'd go out, where you to? I was like, in the house, mate. He's like, I'm outside. Ring one of your mates and tell them they can drive the car for the day. So I rang my mate. I said, mate, do you want to drive a Range Rover for the day? He's like, yeah, mate. So we went out, mate. We got to this place and he was literally like buying a drink and a shot of vodka with every drink. And I was like,
oh fuck.
Western Supermare. There was like 4 of us. And I remember I went to the bar to buy a drink. I think it was Jason Spice, the 9 used to play for the Blues.
Yeah.
So you met up with him. And I went to the bar to get a drink, and Jerry just came up and snapped my card. I was like, mate, you don't pay for drinks when you're me. I was like, oh, I haven't got a bank card now. Jerry's like, and I felt a bit awkward at the time. Like, so I remember speaking to Jason Spice. I was like, mate, what do I do? Like, he never lets me like buy a drink.
Yeah.
Mate, it's just the way it is, and from how he's brought up, like the boys over there, what they'll do is they buy for the younger boys, but if he tells you to walk 2 miles to buy a pack of fags, you got
to go do it.
Pack of fags, like I was like, mate, I don't be walking 2 miles to buy no fags. But mate, we go out for like a pub thing, like a dartboards. Yeah. You go to like a £20 note, fold it in half, put it on. Right, whoever can get in three in a row, you get to keep a £20 note, but it's £2 in the cup. If you I mean, I think he used to pay for the nights out back then, like
class
to get it in, like you have to step back every time. But yeah, mate, there was some awesome characters there back then. Mate, it's hard to find many real dicks in rugby, like, because you get that, like, if you go into a club and you're a dick, you get found out pretty quick, like, and you either get moved on or you change pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Not really accepted, like.
No, that's good, that is. Like, it's, people talk about culture and, the All Blacks are seen as the best for culture, but they've got that policy, like, no dickheads. And I think that, I work in corporate, obviously, in business, like, there's plenty of choppers in fucking corporate and business. And if we adopted that a bit more, we'd probably get more business done. Because everyone would just be that little bit nicer and that little bit more accommodating, understanding, less ego, more graft. Like, it frustrates me sometimes when you see it, but it's just the way of the fucking world, pal. What was it about Harlequins then? Like, why Harlequins? Why? Because we haven't even touched on your Wales career yet. We have a blast on that. So, what, first cap 2013 was it?
Yeah, 2 minutes off the bench against Japan and a loss.
That's the one in Japan, was it?
Yeah.
What was that like, though?
Mate, Japan was class. It was a bit frustrating for me, obviously only getting 2 minutes, not getting on the first test, and then time's ticking down. You're thinking, I'm not getting on here again. I'm not going to get capped. So then I obviously get on. I was the only person smiling at the end of the match after a loss to Japan. My first cap, so I didn't really care. And then obviously you go out on the night then, and it was, if someone toasts you and says, oh, congratulations, you have to neck your pint.
Yeah.
There was a few of us that night. I won't name the player, but one player chose not to drink, which was frowned upon. I
heard a story. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Foxy or someone said that someone didn't drink, and a couple of years later, Jamie Roberts had remembered it, and when they were drinking, they had to do it there and then.
Yeah, and they used to have I remember when we beat, I think it was South Africa for the first time, 2014 or something. Yeah, it was 2014. If you weren't drinking, you had to drink tomato juice.
Oh, fuck.
So Samson, it was a different player with Samson this time, but Samson wasn't drinking because he had asked after we'd beaten South Africa for the first time in like 10 years. He was like, do you mind if I don't come screening in the morning and drink tonight because I'm going ferreting in the morning? So he stayed behind, like, but he was just drinking tomato juice, and I swear he looked like a tomato sitting there as well, like the amount he drank.
Fucking ferreting.
I roomed off topic of rugby, but with Samson, mate. So I roomed with Samson in the World Cup, mate. And
Yeah.
I had a knock on the door. I opened the door, and he was a FedEx, he was a DP, one of those companies. I'm giving me an envelope to give to Samson.
Yeah.
We put it on his bed. I was like, mate, what was that? And he's like, money. Got money sent up. I was like, what do you mean, mate? Did you do a bank transfer? Nah, you got one bank account, mate. I was like, all right, fair enough. FedExed up, like a cash FedExed up too.
That's fucking wild.
He is, mate. That's the baller he is.
What a wild bloke, like.
Oh, mate,
That's
top.
clean.
Is
he?
Again, another story. He's going to hate me for this. He snores like a pig on his back. So he was sleeping now. I think it was like the week of the quarter final. I was like, Samson, mate, your snoring's breaking me. He was like, oh, mate, if I snore, just roll me on my side, sorry. So I remember waking up one night, got up and tried rolling him on his side. What was this? What are you doing? I was like, mate, do you want me to roll me on his side? Just ask me, mate, just ask me. I was like, oh. Yeah, I love Samson.
Class, I fucking love that. What do you look back on your Wales career now? Obviously, you started every game that 2015 was it Six Nations and the World Cup, and yeah, what was you at 35 caps or so? Like, when you look back on it now, because you had to wait a while from your first cap to your second cap, didn't you? Like, when you look back on that sort of Wales career now, like, what's your thoughts on it, and how does it make you feel?
I'm obviously proud to have played that amount of times, but there's a bit of regret there, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy it, and that wasn't because of the environment or anything. I put too much pressure on myself, and as we said earlier, worrying about outside pressures which were irrelevant, really.
Yeah,
I was probably in the mindset when I was playing for Wales of going out not to make an error rather than going out to play well.
Yeah.
I think when I first come into the Welsh squad, I was going in to play well because I had to play well to get the starting jersey.
Yeah.
And it was an opportunity. But then I probably put too much pressure on myself to just go out and not make an error, which is something I've had a massive shift in probably the last. I come back from my foot when I snapped my foot, and that was a big turning curve for me. So there's a bit of regret there. I always would have loved to have got to 50 caps, being the selfish person who wants to get more than you've got, and so on. And it was a big decision for me to leave Wales. In terms of, I knew when I made the decision to leave that I couldn't play for Wales, and I remember I went in to see Gats. I think it was October of 2018, and I just remember saying, look, I'm gonna sign for Harlequins for next season, and it was kind of like, I totally respect it, but in terms of going forward, that rules you out for the Autumn, the Six Nations, the World Cup. But I just felt at the time I couldn't make a decision for 10-20% of my career in terms of international rugby for the other 80, and it was nothing against Ospreys. At the time, though, you couldn't sign a contract because it was Project Reset or whatever it was.
Yeah, I remember.
Like Ospreys, maybe can't offer you anything. We can't at the moment. There's nothing, and I'm a worrier, so I was like, need to try something different. So there was an option to. There was Harlequins. There was a brief thing with Clermont, but if we were going to go to France, it wouldn't be Clermont. Not because of the rugby, but because it's like in the middle of nowhere, and we're both like quite homely people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I met Paul Gastard, mate, and he just blew me out of the water in the meeting with him. And I know another Welsh player met him and said exactly the same at the time. And if he had a contract there and then, mate, I would have signed it.
Would you?
Mate, I've never been so impressed on a first first meeting with someone of his vision and that. And look, it didn't pan out, but I don't think that's a reflection of him as a coach. I think it's a reflection of you've gone from a coach to a director of rugby. It's a completely different role, you know?
Yeah.
It's all consuming. And yeah, mate, when I made the decision to go, like, I remember I had a bit of depression at the time. I wasn't enjoying my rugby. I just come back, my foot was in pain all the time. I was thinking about time. And I remember going home from the meeting with Guzzy and saying to my missus, oh, he was class, blah, blah. And she was like, I haven't seen this buzz about you in a few years.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew it was the right thing to do. And then that probably from that day, it flipped the switch and I started enjoying my rugby again. Even though I was leaving the Ospreys and everything was going on, they was on about merging the Ospreys and the Blues.
Yeah.
And the Scarlets and the Ospreys as well, sorry. And I remember just thinking, like, all I can do is do everything I can for this club, because that's my club, like, the Ospreys is my club. To try and leave this place in the place when I signed for it, I remember we were the best Welsh region, so our goal at the time was to again get Champions Cup, finish the best Welsh region, and look at the Scarlets in that playoff game, and we achieved that. So yeah, there is that bit of regret, and there's a bit of there's still the desire to play for Wales now. But look, they're doing brilliant. They got some great players there, but there is still that bit in the back of my mind, what if, and so on.
That 60 cap rule, like, that's why you couldn't play in it. The 60 cap rule, obviously, you 25 caps short or whatever. Like, do you agree with it? Like, and I suppose you might have to toe the party line here a bit because you're still playing, and one day, you know, for whatever reason, you might still get a call up. But like, I'm as an outsider looking in, I see the value in players going abroad and learning new cultures, experiences, players. You know, I've spoken to players who've played out in France, and you know, Dom Day, you know, a good mate of mine, traveled all over the world playing, and just like the life experiences he's had have been unbelievable. Like, I don't know, I just feel it holds people back a bit. And actually, if you allow players to go and play, it would only just bring more players through the system.
I'm the same as you in that. I get the concept. To get strong regions, you need your best players. But my thing is, firstly, I don't know where they got 60 caps from.
Australia did it, didn't they, at 60 caps?
But then, again, talking about opinion and subjective, how does your loyalty to Welsh rugby just be determined by how many caps you have? So you've got players like, look at Dan Evans, for instance. Dan Evans, for whatever reason, and the two main reasons probably were that they had Liam Williams and Lee Halfpenny. Has played 200 professional games in Wales. Josh Turnbull, the same. Their loyalty to Welsh rugby is no different to someone who's got 60 caps for their country.
Yeah.
They give more service to Welsh rugby because they've been there longer to get 200 games.
Yeah.
I was a big thing of there should have been a regional appearance in that as well.
Yeah, I got you.
Because like a change of coach could be the difference of whether you get selected or not. You look at Lloyd Wells. Lloyd Wells didn't get in the gas for a while, and now he's in under Wayne. Now, if he wouldn't have got picked, but because he hasn't got 60 caps, but he's still done a lot of service for Welsh rugby. And my major bugbear is, you look at the boys now like Zamet, Sheedy, and those type of boys. Francis, another one. But I think Franny is really keen to go to the Ospreys. Massive signing. But those boys haven't been developed in Wales. Yeah. Like, Callum Sheedy is playing for Wales because he's been developed at Bristol. And look at the players he's learning off.
Unbelievable.
So then for him now to make a decision, he's leaving the club that got him to international rugby to go to a club which he has no affiliation with because he wants to play international rugby. So for me, the change would be, look, if you're at another club and you get capped, as long as you stay at that club, you can still play for Wales. If you choose to leave to go to another club in that league, then yes, you have to go back to Wales. I get that. But otherwise, what you're going to have is players signing 10-year 1+1s. So if Gloucester now want to keep Rhys Hammett and they were like, right, we'll give you a 10-year contract. At the end of every year, it's your option, it's our option. He can stay his whole career there, but it's a loophole. So
didn't Saracens do that with Tompkins?
Yeah, loads
5 years or something.
Yeah, there's loads, and it's like, so he can get picked now. He's been at the Dragon, and this isn't against him. It's not his fault. It's never the player's fault. He's gone to the Dragons for a year to now go back to Saracens. So you can't tell me he's given more to Welsh rugby than Rhys Webb when Rhys Webb went to Toulon.
Yeah, completely.
Do you mean Rhys has had 7 or 8 major surgeries?
Yeah.
And yes, people will say, oh, he made a decision to go for the money. Yeah, he did. But he's also spent 10, 12 years in Wales representing Welsh rugby, and all his minis are juniors. So yeah, there is a frustration here, but I do understand it. I do get the concept. But obviously, from a personal point of view, it's frustrating. But again, look, there's some good players in my position. But yeah, there is that. There's still that extra play for Wales. And it's something that my thing was, I didn't actually get offered a contract to stay in Wales.
Okay.
My choice it was my choice. Sorry, that's the wrong word. It was my choice to leave, but I wasn't guaranteed anything in Wales.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have got injured playing for the Ospreys before Project Reset. And then again, at the end of this contract, if I wanted to go back to Wales, if regions don't want me or not looking for a hooker, I can't help that. That's not my choice.
And it's a short career, like, you know, in the grand scheme of working your working life, like you could, unfortunately for players, you know, the next day they're gone, broken leg, knee, fucking whatever it is. Like, you've got to look after number one a little bit as well, because the minute you're gone, there's someone else just replacing you.
Yeah.
There's a conveyor belt of people coming through. You know, it's not like, you know, I suppose it might be a bit different if you're a Dan Carter or a fucking Johnny Wilkinson, maybe. You know, if you leave a shirt, that's a pretty big gap to fill. But not, I'd say, you know, 90% of players, there's someone waiting in the wings to take your spot.
Yeah.
And so if you don't look after number one and you stay loyal, we say that in inverted commas, well, you're only doing yourself out of justice, because you're going to have to go and get, you know, a job you might not want or take a contract you don't want just to put food on the table.
Yeah, because I actually look to come back, potentially coming back, because but there's nothing in Wales, and I love the Premiership and Worcester, like working with Matt Sherratt, I was really looking forward to. I know he's going back to the Blues now, but obviously Mark Jones is there, JT's head coach, there's people I know with. So that was a good fit for me, because we're going to move back to Wales. My son's going to start school in Wales, because that's where we were always going to move back to. So it's great in that respect. But again, you look at Tom Youngs. Tom Youngs wanted to come back.
Yeah.
No one could afford him, or just didn't have spots for a back row or whatever it is. But that's not his choice. But people have signed loophole extensions, which allows them to play for Wales, and that's where my frustration is. It's not with the players.
No, it's the admin.
Yeah, it's not with the concept. If there was a hard and fast, if you don't play in Wales, you don't. They're fine.
Yeah.
But to give people, all right, if you sign an extension before you get capped, and I'm not saying they've done this, but if you say, oh look, before you get capped, then the loophole's there.
That's with the administrators, isn't it? And unfortunately, it's a business, I suppose, and money talks. Like, it's
and that those 3 feathers may hold a lot of value. Like, mate, like what I'd give to play for Wales again now, mate, it's in the mindset I am now to enjoy it and actually take it all in.
I was going to say, and under Pivac as well, where they are trying to play a bit more, and it took a year of some, you know, dodgy results and a bit of teething problems, but you look at the way that they are trying to play, like that would suit you down to the ground, the way that you're playing at Harlequins. I mean, look, you've got Ken's unbelievable, you know, you've got some other good players as well, you know, Elliot and, you know, Ryan and that, but you'd lap that up, surely.
Yeah, I'd love it, mate. And like you say, the boys done really well. I felt for the hookers in the autumn, because there was a lot of change, and it was teething problems. I know, and the more you play with combinations, the better you get. And these boys aren't bad throwers. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no.
They throw well for their clubs week in, week out because they play with the same people.
Yeah.
They just, unfortunately, especially like I got asked about the Island game and done a bit of work on that, and it's like, yeah, that's not just the throw, man. They've got probably the best line of defense in the world. Sometimes, sometimes you just have to put your hand up and say, look, they were better than us on the day. It's no one person's fault. It's a collective.
No, I completely get it, mate. I'd love to. I mean, if you don't mind, you mentioned just about when we were talking about social media and that earlier. Like, one of the things that you've got, and we don't, like, for people listening, we know each other, but we don't actually know each other really well. We've got mutual friends that I know really well and that, but we don't know each other that well. But one thing I can see that you've got is obviously a load of passion, but resilience as well. And I'd love to just chat about, just for people listening who might be, going through a bit of a bad time. You've had some dark times, which you've openly spoke about, the gambling from when you're a bit younger through to obviously having a family and stuff. Like, what is it that kind of gets you through those dark days? And, I suppose just talk me through it, like what happened and how you managed to turn it around and the change in your mindset, and you seem so happy now and genuinely appreciative and buzzing with what you're doing day to day at the moment. Like, how did all that sort of drop and then come back?
So there's different things for different things, I suppose. So in the rugby context, I was really harsh on myself, but I used to worry about things I couldn't control.
Yeah.
Look at selection, again, that's one thing. You can't control that. All you can do is control the controllables. I can control how I train, how I perform, and selection then is an opinion on that. And I remember Steve Tandy sent me to see a psychologist, and it wasn't a sports psychologist. It was proper psychologist, like not proper. That's a wrong word, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. A general psychologist rather than a sports one.
And she just used to give me these sheets to take home and be like, right, can you control this, or whatever's frustrating me or giving me a bit of depression? Can you control it? No, I can't control that. Right, so just try and put that aside. What can you control? I can control performance. From the gambling point of view, I can control what access I have to my money. How does that look like when I'm struggling? Speaking to someone, I can control that. So from the depression side of it, I had a bit of depression pre-injury and post-injury in my foot. It was a real battle for me to get through. I'd never had a long-term injury. And they gave me a 7-month time frame, look, you're back in 7 months. And I got to like 5 months and I was like, there's no way I can play on this. Like, it's not getting any better. But that helped. Seeing the lady helped a lot with that, and just putting into perspective things about like my little boy. Like I could have probably retired off the injury at the time, but wanted my little boy to watch me play rugby again, so that was a driving factor for the rugby. And just then when I was back playing, it was about, as I say, I'm very lucky to have come back and do what I do. So let's enjoy it. The gambling, then that was a tough one because I gambled from a young age. It obviously wasn't an issue, or I didn't see it as an issue at a young age. It was just, I don't come from a wealthy background. I'd work, like I said, 200 quid a week or whatever. I'd go out on a Saturday night or good day, and I'd be like, right, I got 30 quid left. I was like, right, I'll go to the bookies. If I can, all I ever done was roulette and a couple of accumulators. But I do online roulette. I was like, right, I'll chuck this on the second 12th. If it comes in, I got 90 quid night out. If it doesn't, I'll go home and I'll get my mother to pay for takeaway for me.
I love how binary that is. Like,
so used to do that, and then I signed my Ospreys contract, and I started with little bets, odd pound on a number or whatever on roulette, and then the more I earned, I think it was my first international camp. Obviously, you have in a lump sum at the end of the campaign. I had that first lump sum, and I was like, oh, it doesn't matter if I put a couple of grand in here because I've still got a lot there. And then you lose that, and then I couldn't stop myself, and I knew I had an addiction, but I was not at a place to tell anyone. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to say where I was at with it, and I was in a hole. And I remember my wife saying to me at one point, I think it was like 2015, maybe 14 or 15. She thought, because I was always on my phone online, I turned my phone away from her because she had no idea. And she thought, like, what's she doing here? Is she cheating on me? Is he messaging someone else type thing, you know? And then I told her about it. And that's when she said to me about that. And I was like, oh, I can't believe like I was that bad. I didn't even realize you thought that, or I didn't even know I was that distant to then. So I told her that. I said I wouldn't do it again. And then I just went off the rails a bit with it. I can't think what year it was specific. It was just before we had Sunny, so it would have been late 2016.
Yeah.
And I had a big win, and I was battling with it, what to do. I couldn't stop myself. I kept going up and up and up and down and up and down and up, and it was just this, like, I was drained. I was missing training sessions. I went into the toilet. I missed meetings. I was like sitting on there, just couldn't get off it. Like, I'd go from OMA 1,000 down like to almost rock bottom, then hit some numbers in a row, go up to like 3 times what I had before that. And I was in bed one night and I said, so I got something to tell you. I said, it's bad, but it's good. And she was like, what? And I was like, oh, look, I've won X amount of money. I've been gambling. I said, bad is I've been gambling. She was obviously like, what? And then I said, oh, look, but I've won so-and-so, but I can't stop. So then I said, look, I can't stop myself, so you need to like block the account. But then the next morning, I was driving to training and it hadn't blocked. I just went on thinking, oh, is it blocked yet? Is it cleared? The money had cleared. But by the time I had left my house, I was in the back or passenger seat of one of the boys' cars, turned sideways so no one could see, and I lost almost half of it in a 20-minute car journey.
Fucking hell.
So I phoned my wife up and I said, oh, look, you just need to block my cards because I physically can't stop pressing the button. It was that bad. So yeah, and then that was the last time I gambled. Haven't done it since then. I had like seen someone had a good chat with a few people who've been in dark places, and one of the lines which has stuck with me ever since is, you're never gonna win enough to lose your life, or it's very, very, very unlikely you're gonna win enough to change your life, but you can very easily ruin your life.
Yeah.
And I'd seen firsthand within that 20-minute block, if that wasn't winnings or whatever, it's never winnings because I was always down. That could have put me in a very, very dark place, and I was in a dark place. There was times when I felt worthless with it. I didn't, until I told my wife that, I was just secretly doing things like that, and I'd be in bed in the night thinking, what am I doing? How, like, I'm no good to my family. I'm worthless. And then obviously BBC, I spoke to Gareth Rousseau, who knew a little bit about it because I'd spoke to him about it when I'd done some media stuff. And he said, mate, would you be interested in doing a podcast? I think it'd be really beneficial for people, but also for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, they come down to London, to Harlequins, and my intention was to say a little bit, but not really, as I've just said, the depth I've gone into with you. But it just naturally started coming out as it did then. Like, it just feels like I'm unloading the burden, or the pressure, or whatever it is. And then I remember after the call, after the meeting, the podcast, I had phoned my wife because we had debated whether to do it or not, because it's quite personal, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and you're opening yourself up to, unfortunately, in this world, a fucking ton of abuse.
Yeah, and like my wife was like, "Oh, look, what if someone walks past and like, oh, look at him." Do you know what I mean? And I was like,
yeah,
I don't care about that. Like, I'm done with that. Like, as long as my family are there for me and I'm there for them, that's all. So I finished the podcast, ring my wife, and my father-in-law didn't know about the gambling. It was only really my mother, my wife, and one or two of my close friends. So I was like, what is your dad going to think? Like, he had no idea. So I was thinking the worst as you do, all you can ever think is demons in your head giving you the negative thing. And I remember I phoned him and told him, and he was brilliant. But then he listened to the podcast when it came out, and he phoned me and said, mate, I've never been prouder of you. And I was like, just blown away. I broke down, I'll be honest. And that was probably the moment it just all went for me, like the weight on my shoulders of keeping this secret for so long. And I tried to quit loads of times, but they were still there. Like, I was always holding on to those losses and thinking, oh, 10 years, this and this and this, and I would have had this. And then from that moment, I was like, well, that's gone now. It's not as simple as that for everyone, I know, but from that moment, for me, it was like, well, that's done now. It's all out there. There's nothing to hide. I can move on with my life. And I had so many messages of current players, ex-players, academy players, just normal people in normal lives messaging me some of their stories, and tried to help them in any way I could. And I remember there was a couple of young players message saying they've been going through it, they're in a dark place, but realizing they're not the only ones, because you feel like you're the only person that's in this deep. They've spoken to their parents, or they've sat down and said, oh, Mum, can you listen to this podcast with me? And then through listening to the podcast, they've been like, look, I've got the same problem. And their parents or their families, I'm sure they would have been anyway, were a little bit more, because if you haven't been through the addiction, it's hard to understand it.
And it might be hard to, I could imagine, look, I'll be completely honest with you, I've never really told my story, but I've been sat in your position there with gambling and a few other bits and pieces as well, so I completely get it. But it took something to happen for me to ask someone for help.
Yeah.
And then you feel embarrassed and you feel shame and what are people going to think? And I've been putting up this persona of Mikey Rowe, blah, 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 but actually I was a shell of that person.
Yeah.
So I completely get it. So by listening to the podcast, I can imagine those kids, those players, grown men, they don't have to say the words because you've said it for them.
Yeah.
And they almost just have to go, this is how I feel. And it just, I bet you don't even realize the amount of people you've helped by talking about it. And it doesn't have to be gambling. It could be alcohol. It could be drugs. It could be, women. It could be food. I don't know. It could be fucking anything, right? But I bet the amount of people, you will never understand how many people you've helped by being open and honest.
Yeah, and that was, like I always said after, I said to my wife, if it's had one person, that one person could have been me. And it did, it helped me. But yeah. So yeah, that was, it was really, it's hard to explain, like, but I remember I turned up the next day and again, speaking about some of the players, like I remember Marla come up, give me a massive hug and was like, mate, year for you, love you, boy, and all that type of stuff. And then the other boys, a couple of boys told me about they had issues with it as well, which people I would never have expected.
Yeah.
And some people have different issues, and it was just nice. And I think that is probably at Quins, it's the most open group and most diverse, but characters, but everyone's understands each other, and it's okay to be different or to have had your challenges. Yeah.
Fair play to you, mate. I got nothing but respect for that, because having sat there, I know how difficult it can be. And, I suppose, people see sports stars and professional athletes as, untouchable, can't be hurt. They're unbeatable, unbreakable, but you're just human. Do you know what I mean? You're made of the same stuff as us, got the same emotions, the same feelings. You probably go through the same problems, albeit might be at different levels. Do you know what I mean? If you not you, but if someone's a real high earner, their problems are probably a bit different to mine or someone else's. But we all go through it, so it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's okay to reach out and say, actually, I'm not on my game today because of this, and this. And I'm glad you did. Like I've done it. I'm glad you did. Hopefully, like you just said, my first experience of someone else was when Reece Thomas came on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he spoke about his, trials and tribulations off the pitch and the amount of messages I got. And I was like, I'm not a professional. I can't help you. But to talk to me, I'll help. But
yeah,
you should see someone. You should go and get advice. But we all go through it. But it's like men are not allowed to, I don't know, feel emotion or go through bad things because they're the ones that've got to protect the fam. I don't know. It's bullshit. Like,
it's the old toughen up, mate.
Yeah, man up. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe back in the day, but it's a different world now. So fair play to you, pal. I've got nothing but respect, mates. And class that your missus is been there, helped you through it. Because again, you hear stories where others aren't.
Yes.
People don't have that support network, which you've obviously got. So, fair play to them as well for going through that, mate. So
she's a special woman to put up with me, Beth.
Oh, I love it, class. What's the future then, pal? Like Worcester, obviously we had Josh Adams on before, and he couldn't speak highly enough of Worcester and the way that they did things. Like you said, there's a few Welsh lads down there now. Why Worcester, and what's the future hold for you, mate?
So obviously, again, knowing the people, speaking to the owner about their vision, it's going to be a different challenge. I'm not lost on that. It's not going to be as we are now competing for the Premiership next year. There's goals for next year for the club, which I intend to be a big part of, hopefully. And people are like, "Oh, you go in there to have the youngsters?" Yes, I am, as I have been with every club. At the Ospreys, I'd have the youngsters. At Quins, I have the youngsters because I feel if I help them get better, I have to stay on top of them. So I need to.
Yeah.
And I go, was it 2 years and done? I'm like, but now, I intend to keep playing. Like, my body's good. I feel like I'm playing good rugby. I'm enjoying my rugby more than probably have in the last 6-8 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a challenge, and it'd be really nice for my family to be home, and my boy to start school, have stable environment there. I'll commute up, have a lovely coffee, check a podcast on in the mornings every day, and so on.
Yeah.
And they've got unbelievable facilities as well. Like, it's a great club, but the facilities is, again, I'm not a young pup, so recovery would be lovely for me.
Yeah.
He keeps telling me he was there now. They've got massive hot tubs, saunas and that, so I'll be there, not with a beer, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Worcester was one of the clubs I spoke to before I signed for Harlequins as well.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, Mervyn Davis was there at the time. He's now with the Dragons.
Yeah.
And I think it's something I spoke to Matt Sherratt about. Again, I know he's leaving now, but when I was making the decision, again, on not having 10, 15 years to play, I want to enjoy and work with people I know that I enjoy working with.
Yeah.
Jockey is one of my favorite coaches. Like, I'd always ask him questions about why we were doing this, and it wasn't to be a dick. I was generally interested because if I know the why, I know what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to do, and I want to go into coaching. So I'm doing my pro level 3 at the moment with Sanjay and a few other boys. And it's another experience. And I coach up here in Tunbridge, and potentially I can get a job in Worcester doing the same to develop me in that respect. And there's many different environments as you can get in to learn from. I think that'll obviously add strings to your bow. But I have no intention of retiring anytime soon. Who knows? Maybe a couple of years in Worcester, and may travel back over the bridge for a couple, for a bit of a swan song if possible.
Yes, get it done, pal. Get those you said off pod, you missed the derbies, so if I can get amongst them, boy.
Yeah.
Hibbard will still probably be playing by then. He must be fucking coming up for 40 now.
Mate, that's what gives me in my mind that I can play. Because, mate, I remember with Hibbs on the line in 2013, Hibbs would not train on a Monday and Tuesday, mate. His body was so broken. Because he gave everything on the weekend. His body was so, mate, he couldn't lift his shoulders, couldn't turn his neck on a Monday and Tuesday. And I thought he'd be brown bread in a couple of years. And he's still going now, and he's still performing. but I think that is, he loves the game as well. Like, I love it as
Yeah.
well. One of the boys said, mate, why don't you just win the Prem this year and knock it on the head? And I was like, mate, I absolutely love playing. Not so much training anymore. I don't really, training is different. The week is a different mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
The game is still there and I love it. And I'm still trying to learn, and I love working with the younger players, to, especially in my position, to help them get better. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing other people, like, when they get something.
Yeah.
And I think, again, like you said earlier, with the youngsters, they've given me a new lease of life. And I'm thinking now, like, I've come from one environment, one way of playing, to the polar opposite way of playing, which I never thought I would have bought into. But now I can only see the way the Quins play as being, this is, like, you have to enjoy it. Like, you have to love it, like, and be like you were when you were playing youth rugby, when you were playing in school, the old wagon wheel dummies and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, mate, like, we had, we'll probably never run it because I never back myself doing the game. But we played London Irish, and in the warm-up, I said to Joe Marsh, I was like, mate, off this one where I break off the back of the line now, I'm going to put a grubber through for you to come onto it. And he was like, mate, go for it.
Class. I fucking love it.
But then I spoke to Nick Evans after the game. I was like, mate, me and Marsh are going to try this one where I put it through. And I was expecting him to be like, don't you ever do that. And he was like, mate, if you both practice it, why not? And I was like,
mate, please do it. Please fucking do it.
I need to save that. When it's the final, mate, it'll come out.
Oh, I would fucking love it if you pulled that out and it just bounces up, he catches it under the sticks, big dive. I'd fucking love it.
Mate, we practice it every session now. So once I get it and I'm comfortable with pressures on to do it.
Oh, I fucking love that, mate. You take it to the line, drop it to toe, just watch. Well,
the first time I did it in training, I shanked it, and Nick was like, I said, mate, you didn't mind me doing it. He said, yeah, that's why, because you haven't got confidence now. I was like, no, I'll keep practicing, mate. I'm going to do it.
Oh, I fucking love it. I hope I get to see that one day, mate. It'd be fucking class. That's when you want to retire, boy. When you pull that off and just go.
I won't shank it like Adam did when he was playing for the Blues either, when he tried to drop goal and they had advantage.
Oh yeah, fucking hell.
Definitely haven't got that in my locker.
There's a few belters like that. George Cruz has loved a couple of kicks, isn't he, Cruzo?
Yeah, I think Jamie George had a box kick playing in the champ the other day as well, and apparently it was a good one. I'm quite confident in my box kick, so maybe that might come out as well at some point.
Oh, I fucking love it. But that's what it's about, pal. Fucking enjoying yourself, because why else do we go to work? Exactly. Don't go to work to have a shit time, do we?
TRT told me that when I was on Getting Stag. He was like, mate, when you stop enjoying rugby, stop playing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just resent it. And I'm like, I love it, mate. Plus, mate, I haven't got any other qualifications, so I will play until my body, until they wheel me out. I'll be there. I'll be like, right, I can still play. 50 years old, I can still throw one.
I love that, class. Straight into coaching then, so you keep the tracksuit on.
Hopefully. Less running then. More hours a year though, which is not.
Oh yeah, a lot more planning, a lot more meetings.
Yeah. That's the one thing though, I'd say I'd always try and keep. I want to think of it when I'm coaching, what would I have wanted when I was a player? What did I not when I was a player? And mate, I would say rugby is a simple game overcomplicated by intelligent people.
I completely agree.
Like, mate, Sean Edwards, best defence coach in the world. Why? Because he makes it simple. So when you go out, you haven't got to think. Like, mate, I won't say when I done it, but I done a test. We got a 25-minute test we had to do on our game. Like, who's in the backfield when 9 kicks off an exit?
Yeah.
Right in. Couldn't give a fuck. That's not my role. All I need to do is where I need to be off that exit.
Yeah.
I don't care who's in the backfield. Maybe it's because I'm not the most intelligent bloke, but I just think, just tell people what they need to do. They don't need to know what the next one needs to do because that's his job.
Yeah. And as long as it all comes together, then it should work. Hey, you're a good fucking bloke, Scott. Fair play to you, boy. I look forward to seeing the old drop to toe, mate, and marching under the sticks. I can't fucking wait.
Mate, you see me smiles. This recording is probably the first time in a while when I'm with my missus when I'm laughing.
She'll give you a clip now.
Mate, Marla said to me the other day, Quinn's put a load of pictures up from training. He was like, mate, I've had the biggest shock I've had in a long time today. So what's that, mate? He said, somehow they've got a fucking picture of you smiling in training. He's like, fucking world's frozen over. I was like, yeah, I smile a lot. It's just on the inside.
Fair play to you, mates. Thank you for coming on, pal. Cheers for being so open as well and so on. It's like, hopefully, if anyone hears this and they feel like they need to talk or they want some advice, feel free to drop into my DMs. I'm pretty sure that, Scott, you'd probably reply to a few people as well. Don't feel alone. Don't feel that you're going through it on your own. There's always help. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. So massive thanks for just being honest, pal, and being open.
No worries, mate. And if it helps anyone wants a message, don't hesitate. You can say it's
top man.
Nothing to do is to talk.
Good man. Hey, big thanks to everyone that downloads, subscribes, rates, and reviews. Check out catflapchats.com where you'll find all of our previous episodes, sponsors, and merch. Big up Tiny Rebel for the beer. I got to go sit on a watt bike now after having a beer. Fucking brutal. Oh, Morgan Stoddart, that is, mate. I'll be having words with him when I fucking see him, let me tell you.
I need to speak to him. He's the property guru now, isn't he? I need to have a
chat. Mate.
Yeah,
he's doing properties up left, right, and centre, mate. Every day I get a message about a roof or a fucking conservatory or something.
I know.
They look good, though. Fair play to him. They look fucking tidy.
That's what I want to know, because he's a tight ass as well, so you know how to get it done cheap as well.
Get stuck into him. He'll be on the bike now, probably, fucking sweating his tits off. Hey, top man. Thank you very much, mate. We'll catch up soon, all right?
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Have a good night. Enjoy that.
All the best. I can't wait, pal. You take care, all right?
Ta-ra, Beth.
Ta-ra, bye.